Hello, so I'm Kurt Jack Rodriguez and I'm gonna report about my review paper, General Requirements for Industrial Augmented Reality in Application. So first is who has have done the work. So the work was done by a group of authors consisting of Moritz, Benjamin, Christian, Michael, and Klaus. They wrote an article titled General Requirements for Industrial Augmented Reality Application, which was published in the journal Procedia CIRP in 2018. The article presents a study on general requirements for industrial augmented reality applications and uses two case studies to critically discuss the applicability of these general requirements in the context of real-world industrial scenarios. Then let's proceed to the second. What were their goals or objective? So the goals and objective of the authors in the article provided are two. Is first is identify and match general requirements for augmented reality application in all industrial setting. Second is present two case studies to critically discuss the applicability of these general requirements in real-world industrial scenarios. Highlight specific requirements that are unique to industrial AR applications and how they impact their applicability. So, as you can see, I I just um I just show you the first three objectives. So there are six objectives that I read. So overall, their objective seems to be analyzing the potential and limitations of industrial AR applications and providing insights on how to overcome the limitation. So let's proceed to what were their research questions, if any. So first is what are the general requirements for industrial augmented reality? How does Second is how do these general requirements apply in real world industrial scenario? Second is what specific requirement are unique to industrial AR applications. Next is what are the approaches to meet these requirements for successful application of AR solutions in industrial settings. Last is what is the potential of AR for other fields of applications. So it's worth noting that the research questions may not be explicit in the paper, but the author's goals, objectives, and the structure of their work may imply these research questions that they are trying to answer. So let's proceed to the next. What were their methods in terms of but not limited to? So first is how have they gathered relevant data? So the participants in the the participants in the cited article are specified, and then the article is theoretically work that doesn't specifically mention any participants in research study. Instead, the authors are describing a general approach for industrial augmented reality applications and providing two case studies to illustrate the applicability of their ideas. So the authors presents their understanding and their perspective on the field rather than a specific study of a group of people. So the same could be said on their data gathering setup as it was not specified as well. The data gathered setup, the methodology, and the method of the paper are not clear from the article. So the paper focuses on describing general requirements for industrial AR application and discussing the potential of its applicability through case studies, but it doesn't describe the process on or off how to the authors gathered the data for their analysis. And then the tools and techniques used for the data gathering in the article were not specified as well. It could be that the authors are studied existing literature on the topic, interviewed experts, or even used their own experiment with AR system in industrial settings. But there is no indication in the article about the specific tools or techniques that were used. So the second is how do they form the data sets? So how do they form the data sets? So the data sets and how it was cleaned in the article are not specified also. The paper doesn't provide any information about the data sets, its origin, and how it was formed, which means we cannot say about anything. The main focus of this paper is to present the general requirements for industrial AR applications and to critically discuss the applicability of these general requirements in the context of the two case studies presented. So next is how do they process the data? So the article provided is a theoretical work that doesn't have any experimental studies or research. So therefore, it doesn't provide any information about data processing. The authors don't have any data set, so the question of data processing is not applicable in this case. The paper is a review article. It its main focus is to present the general requirements for industrial AR application and to critically discuss the applicability of these general requirements in the context of the two case studies presented, but doesn't provide any information about data processing techniques. So let's proceed to the next. So what were their findings? It can be inferred that the authors matched general requirements for augmented reality applications with two case studies from an industrial context and discussed the applicability of these requirements in the context of these case studies. They also identified specific requirements for augmented reality applications caused by factors such as variance in products and processes, work conditions, data connections, issues in media literacy, and technology acceptance, and also identified approaches to meet the requirements for successful application of AR solution in industrial settings. So the second to the last topic is what were the gaps in their studies or findings. The article does not mention any specific gaps in the findings. The authors present the results of their analysis of the applicability of general requirements for augmented reality application in industrial context and the specific requirements that arise in this context through the use of two case studies. They identify approaches for meeting the requirements for successful applications of augmented reality solutions in industrial scenarios. However, it's not clear if there are specific gaps in the findings. Further research and analysis could explore this topic. So the last topic will be what are your takeaways on this paper review? So it is a research paper that aims to identify general requirements for me and then for industrial augmented reality application and study their applicability in real-world industrial scenarios by using two case studies. So the authors also investigate the specific requirements for AR applications caused by factors such as variance in products and processes, work condition, data connection, etc. So they identify approaches for meeting the requirements for successful application of AR solutions in industrial settings. So the main finding is that augmented reality has a great potential for any fields of application in industry. But it is important to understand the specific requirements in order to apply it successfully. It is also suggested that even though AR has been used in different fields such as medical or military contexts for years, industrial application is still often perceived as isolated solution. That's all for my report. Thank you.